They say you only need 10 books to learn and know everything, but to find those 10 books, you need to read thousands of books. I think the same applies to networking. You might need to meet hundreds of people to find that one person who will bring the biggest opportunity, the one that you are looking for. But for that, continuous networking is very important. I know you're overcomplicating networking, but it's very simple. And in this video, I'm going to very simply explain what networking is, why you need to network, how to network, when to network, where to network, and who to network with. My name is Narmina. I work at a bank in Sweden, Stockholm, and I moved here 5 years ago, and I decided to stay here after that and build my career in Sweden. It was a very long journey to come here where I am today, but I've learned my lessons and I want to share them with you. So what is network? So as a sociology graduate, I cannot help but explain network with a little bit of sociological terminology. According to the French sociologist Pierre Bourdieu, there are 4 main types of capitals that we own or hopefully own. These are economic capital, social capital, cultural capital, and symbolic capital. Economic capital, of course, assets and all the finances that we have. Social capital, that we're going to talk about today. People that we know. Cultural capital, the way we talk, the way we dress, which I want to talk about in the next video when I talk about the cultural aspect of Sweden. And symbolic capital, more like prestige and status. So what is social capital? Social capital, according to Bourdieu, is the way opportunities and resources come to a person through durable networks of relationships. So basically, it's networks of relationships that bring me opportunities. It must be a very powerful capital. Imagine all other 3 capitals without this one. Imagine not knowing the right people, not getting those opportunities, not getting the information about those opportunities and those trends and developments that are happening. If we don't have social capital, that means we're poor actually in some aspect of our life because we don't possess that capital. So not only economic capital, but other 3 capitals also make us rich and wealthy. So why do we need to network? Now I need to answer this question with another sociologist's theory. This one is an American sociologist, Mark Granovetter. He talks about ties. People that are in my close circle, that like my friends and family members, I am connected with them with my strong ties. So we're strongly connected. They're my strong ties. And people that I barely know, who are my acquaintances, that I met somewhere randomly, that I don't know a lot about, that we don't spend a lot of time together, they are my weak ties. So we are not that close with each other. We're not that strongly connected. So we have weak ties and strong ties. The sociologist argues that our weak ties are actually stronger than our strong ties because of the information and opportunities that they possess and know about. So when I spend a lot of time with my friends and family members, we know about the same things. We have the same information about the world. But people that I barely know, they bring new perspectives, new information, new ideas, new angles. So when I meet them, they come with more possibilities and opportunities. That's why they are stronger than my strong circle. And that is why networking is important, because when I network, I obviously meet new people, so I get new information and new perspectives into my life. So who to network with? Ideally, I would say probably people that work in my industry. But if for some reason I'm changing my career or I don't know what to do, or I'm just casually networking because I'm not looking for something specific, I just want to know what's going on in the world, then I could be meeting anyone, anywhere. So it's up to you, and it's about your goal, who you want to network with. But if you're very focused and you know where you're going, Probably in the beginning you could focus on that industry and on that area to meet the like-minded people who are heading towards the same destination. But you could also keep your doors open to any other kind of network. How to build network? I get a lot of questions about this, and I think why I get this many questions is because we complicate the situation. We think we need to approach networking like some other phenomenon than just meeting new people, just like making new friends. A lot of people tell me, but I cannot sell myself, I cannot brag about myself and talk about what I've done, what I've achieved in my life. But that's right, you don't need to talk about those things unless you're asked about, I guess. All you need to do is let them talk and just listen. It's so simple because you went there to learn about them and their journey, their story, who they are, how they have become who they are today. Now, if we look at it more, how it's done more in practice, let's say you're approaching a group of people, you're at an event and you want to engage in a conversation that's they already started. You don't know how to enter the group or the conversation. All you need to do is just approach the people, say hi, make an eye contact with most of them when you're saying hi, and then just stand there, listen to the conversation, genuinely listen and try to understand what they're talking about, because you might ask a question about that or show that it was interesting and why. Maybe right then or maybe a few minutes later they will ask your name, what brings you there to that event, etc. So they might ask you questions, and that would be your biggest opportunity to ask questions back and then try to let them talk and then listen to them. Same principle applies when you approach one person. So if you saw them on the stage saying something, or saying something not on the stage but somewhere else, or they didn't say anything but you know something about them, you could start from there, that you have read about this, you heard this, you thought about this, what they said or wrote somewhere, whatever that is, and you find it interesting, you find it fascinating, you have questions, you have ideas, you have thought about it, and ask more questions. If you haven't heard about them anywhere, not recently, not long ago, this is the first time you're meeting them, you don't know anything about them, then that's even better probably. Then you can ask so many questions. Who they are, again, let them talk, try to hear their story, listen carefully, actively, ask questions. And ideally, they will ask questions back as well. Let's say for a while you talked with the group or with the person. Ideally, you shared some contact information to stay in touch. And that is probably LinkedIn. I hope the conversation went well, so you went home, and next day I want you to send a thank you message with hopefully excitement because something really inspired you, and it should be visible in your message as well that you're inspired because of this and that, what you heard about, what you said. And you can end the message with a question or with an invitation to fika in Sweden, a cup of coffee or tea, so you can continue talking about the same topic or even more. The message should be open-ended, so it invites the other person to respond and continue the conversation with you, so the conversation doesn't die. I can give an example. I once had a very short speech in a meeting where over 300 people attended, and at the end I shared my contact information, LinkedIn information there, and a lot of people connected with me on LinkedIn, and over 50 people messaged me about my speech. And I replied to all of them, but with most of them the conversation died because my message was just thank you, because their message was just saying something positive about my speech, but what else can I say? Just thank you and thank you for listening to me. But people who ended their message with a question, I replied to them with a longer message because I had to answer their question, and they also replied back, so the conversation kept going while other conversations unfortunately died. So I would recommend keep it open-ended, more inviting, so the other person gets back with more information so that you can build on. So the key here is to stay in touch. So when to network? I would say, depending on your goal, but I would also say that hopefully your goal is not one specific one, rather broader, and you approach networking as a way of living. I personally do like that, because I'm not pursuing one specific goal or one specific intention for meeting a certain number of people or certain person. It's more like I want to meet people. So I would recommend that, like, you genuinely want to meet people. You genuinely like talking with people. You want to hear their story. That's why you can network when you're employed, unemployed, you want to start your business, you don't want to start your business, you don't want to do anything, you want to do something. Doesn't matter. Ideally, I think you should just network with people. You never know what you can learn from them. You might not be getting any big opportunity, but you might be hearing something interesting. They might recommend some interesting book, and you might go home and read that book and learn a lot from that book. People bring insights, people bring perspectives, people bring ideas. That's why I personally love meeting people and hearing them. You can also tell when someone is trying to meet people or a certain person for one specific goal. The way they're trying to stay in touch or maintain the relationship is not genuine. It's so visible and noticeable. I really hope that when we network with people, it's actually genuine, comes from heart. Even if we wanted to get something and we don't get that, we still manage to have those people in our lives for other reasons. That's what stands out. That's when people really want to network and stay in touch. When your intention is genuine and focuses on the relationship itself rather than what the relationship can bring. So where to network? A bit more practical again. You can go to different events, but they don't have to be limited to networking or recruitment, employment events. They can be extra tough, I guess. Those can be the events where you might actually need to sell yourself or brag about yourself. I don't know, I might find them tough myself. But you could be going to any other event about any other topic. So it could be like someone talking about agile way of project management. It's not even related to recruitment, but someone's talking about something new happening in the agile project management world. So you could attend that event, hear something about it, especially if you're interested in that and it's somehow related to what you do or what you want to do. Then you can randomly meet people at that event without any pressure that you need to perform or sell yourself. So where to find these kind of random events? I can recommend a few apps and organizations. The apps that I'm actively using are GoFriendly. It's for women and you can find casual events there, I would say. There could be book clubs or any other gatherings and meetings. Another one is Meetup. You can find events there from not so serious to very serious. Organizations that I myself used was Pink Programming. They have different events, and when I attended their event, I actually went to the office where I work today. I wasn't an employee back then, but life is interesting. Now I work at that company. Meetleaf, they focus on career mentorship. You can join, become their mentee, but they will also invite you to different networking events, their own events or somewhere else. And Nema Problema, and I think they changed the name today. It's called Belong. I've never used their services, never attended their events, but my friends have done and they love it. So that's why I decided to include that here as well. If you want to be memorable at an event where you're trying to meet people, you don't need to talk a lot or talk something extraordinary about yourself. All you need to do is listen. Be a good and active listener, ask good questions, follow up well, and then try to stay in touch afterwards. That's all. It's like making friends. Let me know in the comment section if you have any more questions or thoughts about this. I would be happy to reply.